This week, we get caught up on all the amazing things happening out there in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. We also catch up on a little bit of Star Wars and DC news, and we talk a little bit about an upcoming local event happening in the Kansas City area this weekend. Welcome to the Infinite Taylorverse. Warning.
Red alert.
Ay, 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 ay!
Danger, Will Robinson. Danger!
That's the emergency alert.
This episode is full of spoilers for some of the latest and greatest nerdy movies and shows.
Spoilers.
Listener discretion is advised. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Infinite Taylorverse podcast. I'm Billy Taylor.
I'm Taylor Oxner.
And this week we're back. We got a lot of fun stuff going on out there, and we're excited to talk about it with you. But before we jump into that, Taylor, what have you been nerding out about this week, man?
This week I am nerding about the first run of Marvel Team Up, which you might as well just call like Spider-Man Team Up, because it's Spider-Man with like a different character every issue.
Yeah.
And I'm in like the 170s range, if I remember correctly. I might be way off, actually. But it's like fun, like old school, like red and blue, not complicated Spider-Man. You know, he's just like worried about like girls in school.
Yeah.
And, you know, him meeting up with, you know, he meets up with the hero character and they have a little bit of a tussle. And then they're like, why are we fighting? We're on the same team. Each issue has like Spider-Man, like some random. So far, they've been mostly like D-list characters, or at least at the time were D-list characters. Some of them are like huge characters now, but it is a blast. You know, old school ads, like, you know, like you'd imagine, and it's fun. They usually wrap up by the end of the issue, and if it doesn't wrap up, basically the story goes to the next issue, and then like one of the characters for some reason has to leave, and then you have a different random character to replace him. Like, it's pretty crazy. See if you know any of these. Devil Slayer.
Yep, don't know that one.
Quasar.
Okay, I have heard Quasar before.
Okay. Let me see, what was another really weird random one? Oh, The Demon. Marvel's version of The Demon.
I can't picture that. When I hear The Demon, I think Etrigan, you know?
Yeah. There's one issue with just Black Widow in it.
Okay.
One issue was him with the Falcon.
Oh, okay.
But it was like old school the Falcon, you know?
Yeah.
With like the crazy open shirt and everything.
Yep.
And I just read it. Like, some of them you have bigger characters, of course, but there's a lot of them are just like really Paladin. You know that character?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah. Like characters like that. And it's kind of awesome because the Quasar issue, Quasar's wearing like his old suit before it was all like Captain Marvelized. And it's like so gnarly looking, man. Like, it is so ugly. Like, I can't. Yeah. And the villains for each like issue are like hysterical. Like the last guy was like Lightwork, I think his name was, or Dr. Lightman or something. And he shoots like beams of light out of his chest.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's fun.
And it really has been, honestly. And they're all canon, that's awesome too.
Oh, yeah. I love going back and reading some fun stuff that I just haven't in a while. That's always fun. I recently did my summer, Back to the Future rewatch that I've done every summer since high school at some point, because that's my all-time favorite movie. And the last handful of years, I also have to go back and read all the comic books that came out, the ones that are, depending on who you ask, they're canon to the overall story. But yeah, those are my favorite to go back and read. It's always fun to go read some stuff that you just love reading. And it's hard to do sometimes, but I don't know, I just love these ones so much that it's really easy to go back and get into them again.
That's awesome. The only problem I have getting into all my stuff is it's all bagged and boarded and taped up.
Yeah.
So I'm always like, oh, there goes another bag, because the way I tape them is kind of obnoxious, to be honest. But,
luckily, I guess luckily is maybe one way to look at it, but I never got all the individual issues, so I only have collected graphic novels of these books. So those are a little bit easier to dive into.
Do you have the Mars Attacks versus Back to the Future?
I don't. The only crossover I have is the Back to the Future Transformers one.
That one's a good one.
Yeah, that's a lot of fun. That's not, canon to the overall story, obviously, but I've been using that as a bedtime story for the boys the past week or so. And
that's cool.
Been loving it.
That's awesome.
And so my nerding out for this week, Emily randomly saw, I guess because, we share an Amazon account and you can see your recently searched stuff. And so I'm always looking at, McFarlane superpowers or Funko Pops or whatever. I'm just scrolling through, even if I have no intention of getting anything out. It's kind of fun to look. And the other day I typed in, Back to the Future and just randomly wanted to see what was out there on Amazon. And there was this Back to the Future complete visual history encyclopedia type book. And they expanded it and re-released it in 2020 or 2022, something like that, with completely updated stuff. Anyway, it was in the recently viewed items in Amazon, and I guess Emily bought it and didn't tell me, and it came the other day, and I've been really nerding out about going through this book.
That's awesome.
It's got some really cool concept art pages. It's got letters written by a lot of the cast members and a lot of behind-the-scenes stories that weren't released before this book came out. And yeah, I always felt like, man, what more could I know about this movie series? And then I read a book like this, and it's like, oh, I know a lot of things, but I didn't know that. It's just kind of cool. And yeah, I've been super diligent nerd the past few days reading through this book.
That's cool.
Every few pages has a cool fake prop attached to the pages, and I'm kind of torn because I love being a good little collector, and I don't want to, mess things up the way they come. But it has stuff like the letter that Doc wrote to Marty when he got trapped in the 1800s. It has the picture, and it's a lenticular picture, so if you move it, it shows his siblings disappearing from the picture or not.
Oh, wow.
It's really cool. And there's like a detention slip. There's a receipt from when he bought the book in the future that Biff used to change the past or whatever. It's got all kinds of little cool things attached to it, and part of me really wants to take those things out, and part of me wants to leave them exactly where they are, and it's been hard. First world nerd problems.
Oh, yeah.
Well, hey, let's dive into the news for the week. This week is pretty Marvel heavy. So the first thing I had on the list, that we've got all this stuff going on with the next upcoming Avengers movies. There was going to be a real heavy Kang direction, but stuff happened, and now it's going to be more of a Doom and Secret Wars direction. But if the Kang Dynasty were to happen, I read a whole article about how Shang-Chi was going to be one of the main characters in Avengers Kang Dynasty, and that concept was scrapped. So that got me thinking, like, man, I really want to see that character again. I wonder where they'll throw him in next.
Yeah, I wonder if he knew about all the plans, or if he's, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like the actor.
Yeah, like I'd be like, are you kidding?
I know, that would suck a lot.
Yeah.
He was one of those people that manifested his role, because years ago he tweeted at Marvel, because he's always been a comic book nerd, according to him, and I want to be Shang-Chi someday, blah, blah, blah. And what do you know? It happened. So maybe he should manifest some more stuff out there. Season 2 of X-Men 97 is coming before we know it, and it sounds like they're going to be releasing 2 new X teams in Season 2, and that got me thinking, who else are they going to possibly throw in there?
New Mutants and X-Force.
That makes the most sense to me. I did think of New Mutants, but I completely didn't even think of X-Force, but yeah.
Yeah, because Cable is the main character of the show.
Yeah, and plus with the big popularity right now of all the Deadpool and Wolverine stuff, I could see X-Force making sense. And that'd be cool to eventually get a live-action movie of those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see a funny possibility. And they kind of tried to do X-Force on the second Deadpool, but I could see with the popularity of Deadpool and Wolverine pulling in some kind of a version of X-Force with those guys involved and taking it a little bit more seriously than they did in X-Men 2, but just involving those guys.
Well, it's like those books inherently are like very serious.
Yeah.
Because they're like Black Ops, like action books.
Yeah.
Cable doesn't have a problem killing people.
Yeah.
Neither does Wolverine when he was leader of the X-Force. So it's kind of, yeah.
Let's see, next on the list here, we know there's an animated Black Panther in canon show coming, but it sounds like there's a live action Black Panther spinoff that's in development, and it's called World of Wakanda, and there's no other details than that's been released. But I'm always down to hear some more about those stories happening from Wakanda.
Yeah.
Also, we know Daredevil Born Again is coming, and not only did they recently finally officially announce that the Netflix stuff is canon, and these are official sequels of the Netflix stuff, and it will fall in MCU canon, so it's kind of nice to hear that, I guess. But a character from Hawkeye, the character called Swordmaster, that we only briefly knew his true self towards the end of Hawkeye, well, that character is supposedly going to play a role in the new Daredevil Born Again series.
I'm very excited about that character.
Yeah. He was a cool dude. He was funny on Hawkeye, so it'll be cool to see more of him and more of his actual story, not just as a side character.
I hope they give him his like purple suit.
Yeah. Ooh, for people who loved the What If series and, season 2, they introduced that character Kahori, the Native American woman with the powers from when she fell in that portal. So for the first time in comic books, she's about to make her comic book debut on November 6th during Native American Heritage Month. And I think that's super cool.
That is super cool.
They're going to make her comic canon, not just on the TV stuff, which that's kind of cool. If you remember, like a long time ago, that's how Harley Quinn came into existence. She was created for the Batman the Animated Series, and then before you know it, they throw her in the comics. And I don't know anyone that doesn't know who the heck Harley Quinn is,
Yeah. Batman Beyond is the same thing.
Yep.
Herbie the Robot's the same thing.
Yep.
There were a couple more.
It's really cool to me when they do that. It's cool, I'm sure, for the creators in the series to see their creation kind of immortalized. That's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
We all know that right now in the entertainment world, Sydney Sweeney's showing up in everything. And there was big rumors that she was going to at some point play the Black Cat in the Spider-Man movies. But it sounds like she has officially been made an offer to play the Black Cat when the 4th Tom Holland Spider-Man movie comes out. So that's kind of cool.
That'll be appropriate.
That'll be way better casting than Madam Web.
Yeah.
All around way better. Speaking of, amazing Sony Marvel movies, they finally set out a trailer for the Kraven movie. Did you have a chance to see that last week?
No, I had no idea.
It just came out last week, and it's a red band trailer. It's very graphically violent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't believe I didn't miss that.
Yeah.
I didn't even see anything about it.
You'll have to go check it out. I mean, if you rip away the Marvel label, it looks like an exciting adventure, violent action movie. But it's just getting harder and harder to enjoy these things when they're just not what they could be, if that makes sense.
Does it look accurate at all? Are there any supervillains or heroes?
The other character I can recall was the Rhino is in this movie as well.
Okay.
Which, along those lines, I read a different article recently, and it was talking about how Sony keeps making all these, finger quotes, Marvel movies with Spider-Man characters, because every time they use one, Disney legally can't use it. And they're just trying to keep their mitts on it. So if that's accurate, we're not going to get to see, Kraven or the Rhino or Venom or Carnage or any of that over in the MCU. And that's a big bummer.
I have a hard time believing that we're not going to see a Venom.
I think it did go on to say that without some substantial negotiation and fees and all this. So, I mean, Disney's got the money, so if they want it bad enough, I'm sure it'll happen.
Well, the symbiote's in the MCU.
Yeah, that's true. What if we only get some, black suit Spidey Secret Wars thing? I don't know. But yeah, come on, Sony. Just sell those rights so that we can get some quality movies with these characters.
I think a lot of us are like, you do so well with this animated Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Why is the others so difficult for y'all?
So bad.
If these movies were coming out around like the Blade era of like Marvel movies, I'd be like, okay, cool,
Yeah.
These are getting made, like I'd be stoked. But now it's like,
in comparison,
it is embarrassing almost.
And then, I'm thinking back, when I watched Morbius, I didn't hate it, but the more and more I watched it, I was like, this could have been so much better. And then Madam Web, all these superhero movies, I've watched them so many times each. I'm not going to watch Madam Web again. And it's kind of a bummer.
Well, it's like Bird of Prey, right?
Yeah.
It's fun, and it was great when I saw it in the movie theater, but then I watched it again, and it wasn't as fun. And I watched it again, and you know what I mean? It's like, they have that first impression thing going. Like, I remember when we went and saw Black Adam in the theater, and we were like, that was pretty good.
Yeah.
And then the next day, I was like, that was a bad movie. It's almost like beer goggles.
Right. We're just
for
so excited
movies.
to be there.
Yeah, we're just so excited to be in the theater itself. So my opinion's changed, not drastically, because I've always kind of given myself a day or two
Yeah.
before we do these things. But there's been a couple movies that my opinion's changed over the years.
Yeah. Oh, definitely over the years. Obviously, we recently saw Deadpool and Wolverine, and that one is not going to change that much. It was awesome all around. I'm already so excited to see it again.
The cow is...
Right? The soundtrack was amazing. Oh, man. Such a good movie.
I like to see all the Wolverines.
Yes. Especially our little short king.
Yeah, that was awesome. But even the Age of Apocalypse Wolverine.
Oh, yeah.
It's wild.
Yep. Well, one of the current big rumors out there right now with Marvel is when Secret Wars gets here, which this is going to make sense because if we got some string puller behind the scenes pulling all these people from all these worlds to make Battle World, this is going to make sense. But it sounds like the big rumor right now is Tobey Maguire, Chris Evans, Wesley Snipes, Scarlett Johansson, and Nicolas Cage are all going to show up as their past Marvel characters in the Secret Wars.
Huh.
Yeah. The only one on that list that kind of surprised me a little bit is Nicolas Cage, Ghost Rider. And this rumor, this is an expected thing. If this comes to be true, no one's going to be shocked by it, I don't think. It also sounds like, from what I read recently, Loki, the character Loki, which we have not seen since season 2 of Loki, is going to be a big important character in the upcoming 2 Avengers movies.
Yeah, he signed on. I guess once RDJ and everything's involved, stuff gets moving a little bit quicker.
Oh, yeah. And if you think of his character's role in the multiverse, if this is, a couple of movies where folks are being plucked from all over the multiverse, it would make sense that he'd be part of that.
Yeah, or he's one of the celestial beings.
Oh, yeah. Now, yeah. He's pretty darn important now.
Yeah. I was just thinking, they always have these big events, like Marvel events in the books have events where the different celestial beings and forces of the universe will come together, to fight Thanos and the Gauntlet.
Yeah.
Or they came together to make decisions about the multiverse, things like that. And I think seeing him with, say, a Galactus or the Watchers and, things like that.
Yeah.
Would be pretty cool.
Definitely. So we know we're getting this Thunderbolts movie pretty soon, and it sounds like those characters, or at least a lot of those characters, if not all of them, are going to be showing up as well in the next 2 Avengers movies. And then, along the lines of animation with Marvel, it sounds like they're developing right now an animated movie that's going to be released theatrically, and it's going to be in canon to the rest of the MCU. There was no details as to what characters, what storylines, none of that. It's just they're working on something animated that will be in theaters, and it will be canon. And I think that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Did you see the Thunderbolts suits?
I did. So the Thunderbolts trailer reportedly leaked online last week, and I was so busy with work and school and stuff, I didn't even catch that. And now that I'm a little bit, a day late and a dollar short, I tried to Google it, and it's all been scrapped from the internet, which is a bummer. But maybe if I get on, TikTok or Reddit or something, I could find it. But yeah, I did see some screenshots, though.
Yeah, it looks so cool.
Yeah.
It's definitely, they're going for the team that was behind Osborn. I wonder if they're going to try to do a Dark Avengers thing.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool. Speaking of some of that animated stuff, it sounds like, we recently got word that Eternals has been scrapped. There's no current plans for any Eternals 2 movie or anything like that. But it sounds like they're going to be making an Eternals series on Disney Plus that's animated and it's in canon. So, I'll trust the process. I'll definitely watch it.
I liked Eternals.
Yeah, I did too. It was a long movie, but I liked it.
It's a long movie, and I felt like it was like a housekeeping movie.
Yeah.
I felt like it was this is the history of the MCU before Avengers movies. And then a lot of people just were like, man, it's too dense, it's too much. There's a lot of talking, which there is.
Yeah.
There's a lot of explaining things, yada, yada, yada. But I think it makes the MCU better.
Yeah. A couple more things along the lines of animation. It sounds like we're also going to be getting an animated Power Pack series on Disney Plus, and I think that'll be super fun.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, with things like Fantastic Four coming soon, that makes sense. And
Yeah, Franklin.
yeah, and it's funny. I never really looked too much into Power Pack until, I have 4 kids, and a friend of ours started saying that, like, oh, you got your own Power Pack. And then, so of course, that made me go seek out Power Pack books and read them. And so, yeah, hearing that news made me a little excited. I actually recently bought Oliver. They made, at some point a few years back, they made some, more kid-friendly versions of comics, but they made a Power Pack series, and I found a graphic novel of it, 2 of them actually, and bought them for Oliver a couple weeks ago, actually, and he's been enjoying them.
I wonder if they have the omnibus for like the whole Power Pack series, the original series.
Oh, maybe. I should read it, because I haven't read everything, but I feel like I would enjoy it.
It's fun. There's a lot of guest stars.
Yeah.
Like a lot.
That'd be cool if they do that same thing with an animated series, just keep plucking in characters here and there that we all love. That'd be really cool.
Well, it's all like them, with some like adult. And the adult has to deal with these little kids. But the little kids like wind up saving the day.
Yep.
Like there's one with like Wolverine in it, and it's pretty funny.
Oh, I'll bet. I can just see that dynamic of, grumpy old man having to take care of these kids. Like,
yeah, it's very much like Odd Couple humor.
Yeah, that's fun. So earlier we kind of mentioned, we know that there's this animated series in the Black Panther realm taking place called The Eyes of Wakanda, but they did recently release that not only is this canon, it's in the sacred timeline, but it's also going to involve time travel. So that got my gears turning, like, okay, what kind of time travel Black Panther stories are we going to be getting?
Is he going to time travel to like World War II? And fight with Captain America? And then is it going to come out around the same time that video game's coming out?
Oh, that'd be kind of cool. I don't know. Well, they already had me hooked because it's Marvel and I love that stuff, but they definitely hooked me at time travel. So
I wonder if they're like going back to finding like a new Black Panther.
Oh, yeah.
Even I thought Shuri was going to take that.
That's the way Black Panther 2 seemed to set it up. So yeah, I don't know. There's also a new series coming called My Time to Shine Hello. Does that sound familiar to you?
No.
I have no idea what that is, but apparently it's Marvel, and it's going to be starring Taron Egerton in some kind of an undisclosed role, which that's got me thinking. He's been a fan cast Wolverine character for someone younger to play Wolverine, someone younger and shorter, but
yeah,
who knows what that's going to be. I've never heard that, My Time to Shine Hello. I've never heard that. I don't know what that is, but it was on the sources of all the Marvel stuff I find on the internet. This was one of the things, and I guess we'll just see what the heck that's going to be. So we're all still, pretty excited that RDJ is returning to the MCU, this time as Doctor Doom. But they did officially confirm that he will be from the same world as the Fantastic Four in the new Fantastic Four First Steps movie that's coming out soon. That part's been confirmed, but then a rumor of his origins has been released. But here's what that rumored synopsis was. It says, this Doom isn't truly evil. He believes he's saving the multiverse from an incursion. And according to his twisted logic, the only way for the multiverse to survive is to unify all the universes in one place under his rule. And he sees this as the sole path to ensuring that everyone survives. And that, that makes sense. It all, that sounds like someone easily could have just wrote that out because it makes sense. But I could see that making sense, especially if we're going towards Battle World and all that stuff.
Yeah.
The final thing I do have for Marvel is that over in the comics, we might have talked about this in the past, but Ultron is about to become an Avenger. Have you been following this at all?
No, I am so far behind.
But yeah, Ultron is going to be officially a West Coast Avenger.
That is wild.
Yeah, I'm wanting to read it when it doesn't. I think it comes out in either October or November, but I want to read it, and I wonder if it's going to be like a sleeper cell, like he's fooling everyone, or if truly he's saw the light and he's a hero, not a villain now. But I guess we'll just have to see on the pages.
I mean, they've made Darkseid a hero from time to time.
Yeah.
If they can do that.
Oh, yeah, they can make anyone a hero at that point. Over with DC, there's not a lot of news. Now, I've seen the full series of Batman the Caped Crusader, and Taylor, you've seen the first 3 episodes. So maybe we'll review all that when we're both done with it, but your initial thoughts. I know we've talked about this a little bit, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. Nothing will ever top Batman the Animated Series for me, but I enjoyed it. I liked it a lot. What were your thoughts on this?
So unfortunately, right now I'm also watching Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah.
This is so try-hard of that it's almost obnoxious. Especially if you're watching them both at the same time. One of them is definitely better quality, yada, yada, yada. I'm so tired of these type of Batman shows. Like, can we just have Batman shows where it takes place in the DC universe, not just Gotham?
Right.
Like, we've had enough of these Batman shows without people with superpowers.
Yeah.
Or if they do, it's like a random Clayface or,
Yep.
I want more, not just Batman taking on his usuals. I want to see like Batman and Green Lantern go after like Mongol or something. Like, just something where he's saving the world, not just Gotham.
Fully agree. That would be pretty cool.
Uh-huh.
I know the Batman the Brave and the Bold was kind of, definitely oriented towards children, but that was one of the things I loved so much about that show.
Yeah, exactly. I just think that like having it have more connectivity to the rest of the DC universe also opens up backdoor shows.
Yeah.
So I just think that like at this point, we have seen the same Batman so many times. I'm like tired of just be all the way Batman. I'm tired of year 2 Batman. I'm tired of year 1 Batman. Year 0. I just want Batman. I've gone through 4 Robins.
Yeah.
I'm a member of the Justice League. I'm also a member of like the world.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like that'd be a breath of fresh air.
No, I get it. I agree with that. And that's coming from someone who I did enjoy this series, but I fully agree with everything you just said. It is kind of weird how they always tend to put him in the box of Gotham instead of the rest of the world. But yeah, I'd watch your show.
Thank you.
I
just feel like we've seen this Bruce Wayne so many times. It's like, why can't we have like a more like seasoned, hey, let's go, like a Dark Knight's Metal kind of thing, where he's the center character, but also at the same time, like you're seeing all the other characters. And I know it's more like fit for a movie when it comes to like Justice League movies, and people will be like, well, what about like Justice League Doom? That's a Batman movie, or things like that. But it still says Justice League on the top of it.
Yeah.
It's still a Justice League movie.
I did just think of my one complaint about the show. I don't like how mean he is to Alfred.
I also think, why is Alfred so kind of chubby?
Yeah, he's younger and a little more portly.
Yeah, like, why is that? Wasn't he...
I don't know. It does not address that in this series, at least by the end.
He was in the Royal Air Force and has always been able to handle himself. That was always like...
There is I know you're only on episode 3, but there's a really cool cliffhanger on the season finale.
Okay.
We can talk about that soon.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see.
No. Yeah, it's a perfectly fine Batman show.
Yeah.
It's just whatever. And I'm not even complaining about like what a lot of people are complaining, like the female penguin, whatever. I don't care.
Yeah.
Like, that doesn't bother me whatsoever. In fact, I think it worked really well.
Yep.
I'm just tired of these type of Batman shows.
Yep. Well, over with Star Wars, the only news I got this week was that they have officially canceled The Acolyte Season 2. There's not going to be a Season 2 of that show, and that's a bummer. I want to know the next part of that story. I want to know about this Sith we've just been introduced to, and it's the first time we've seen Darth Plagueis on screen, and they officially said they're canceling it, and I think that's a big bummer.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll roll like a story into something else like they did with Mandalorian.
Yeah. Also, last week we got the trailer for Skeleton Crew. Did you have a chance to see that one?
I didn't.
The way I described it when I watched it, it kind of reminds me of mixing Star Wars with the Goonies. It was just like a misfit group of kids who wind up on a ship and Jude Law is their impromptu leader. I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, imagine Goonies in a galaxy far, far away. That's kind of the feel I got from it, and that made me really want to watch it.
That's awesome.
Let's see. Elsewhere out there, we know that Beetlejuice is coming pretty soon. September 6th, so we're only a couple weeks away from that, but they've just released 2 clips from the movie, and I haven't watched them yet, because honestly, I don't want to spoil anything.
No, it's too close to it at this point.
Exactly.
For me.
So I've been watching trailers, but I did not want to watch these clips for that reason. And, we're here to bring you the news. If you want to go see those clips, they're out there.
Yeah.
And we're also going to be getting this Tomb Raider animated series. It's called Tomb Raider, The Legend of Lara Croft. It's a true sequel to the video games, they've said. And a trailer just came out. So if that sounds interesting to you, you should go find that. Also, a final trailer for Lord of the Rings, Rings of Power Season 2 just came out. And I am so excited for that. My wife and I loved season 1. Very, very good show. I cannot wait for this next season to come out.
Good.
Those of you guys who love The Terminator, James Cameron just disclosed that he is working on a very, very classified project taking place in the Terminator franchise. So we will see what that means before too long. Maybe we'll see, an older Arnold suit up. An even older one.
Let the man be done with it.
Right? They should have him play. This is kind of so out of the realm for him, but what if they made an episode where he's a scientist because now he's an older man and he based all the robots to look like him in his glory days or whatever? That'd kind of be a cool story.
Yeah, maybe.
Well, the final thing I've got on the list here with news, do you remember from the 90s? I know it was one of my favorites, but do you remember the Ernest movies?
Yeah, I love those movies.
With Jim Varney? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I
So
introduced
fun.
my wife to those movies. She had never seen them before.
When you told me that, I'm like, that is crazy. I grew up with Ernest.
Yeah, me too.
My favorite one was probably Ernest Scared Stupid, the Halloween one. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So many
That
good
one or
one-liners.
the or Scared Straight where he goes to prison?
Oh, that one's funny too.
Yeah.
The camp one's funny. The Christmas one's funny. Like, honestly, they're all funny. I love them so much.
Yeah.
But Ernest P. Worrell is making his way to comic books. There's going to be
Oh,
an
my.
upcoming Ernest comic book.
Okay.
I'm trying to picture how that'll translate, the slapstick funny comedy
Yeah.
on the page. But, I saw this ad and I'm like, okay, I'm going to read it. I'm going to check it out. It's going to be fun.
Oh, that's crazy.
Even if it's horrible, I'm going to want it in my collection. But yeah, that's all of the news for you guys this week. Locally, as of you guys listening to this, it's KC Retro time this Saturday and Sunday over at the Overland Park Convention Center. KC Retro's happening. There's going to be lots of video games, lots of vendors, cosplayers, you name it. But your boy's here. We're going to be there representing the podcast and meeting some people, interviewing some people. It's going to be a fun time. So if you want some details and some tickets, go to their website. Just look up KC Retro. Go to their social media, their Facebook, all that jazz. But yeah, we hope we see you there.
Yeah, absolutely.
But hey, as for us here at the Taylorverse, I've been Billy Taylor.
I'm Taylor Oxter.
And come back next week, you guys. Same Taylor time, same Taylor channel.
Bye.
Bye.